jump up, people, are you ready?
Well, good morning to you and welcome to On Tour as we look back at the West Indies versus Sri Lanka series. Of course, it's day number 2, test number 2, and it seems to be pretty much even Stevens at this particular stage. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's have a look at the scorecard after day 2 of this test at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium. The West Indies eventually bowled out for 354. They were 287 for 7 overnight. Craig Brathwaite getting to his 9th test century, 126, batting quite well and getting fantastic support there from Rakeem Cornwall, who eventually made 73, still looking for his first test century, a very crucial partnership of 103. Lackmell in the end, 4 for 94, and Shamira, 3 for 69. When Sri Lanka batted, they finished at 136 for 3. They now trail by 218 runs. Thurmani on 55. Thurmani made 55, correction. Shandamel on 34. And Danijah De Silva, he is on 23. A partnership so far that has been worth some 58 runs. And it could be crucial going into day 3. Well, look, we have our panel. We're going to get straight into the thick of things. Tino Best, the former Barbados and West Indies fast bowler. Johnny Barron, our international correspondent from the BBC. And of course, last but not least, one of the most successful test captains of all time. I'm talking about Sir Clive Lloyd from Guyana and the West Indies. Sir Clive, first of all, the brief answer. How do you sum up this day 2 of this test match, West Indies versus Sri Lanka?
I thought it was a very good day for Test cricket. It had everything, and I must say that we have to congratulate Captain Craig Brathwaite for the way he played, and I must say the fielding was much better than they looked like they wanted to get. They were more active today in the field. They looked like a Test match side today, and they'll just have to put in the same effort tomorrow because it's very, I would say, like delicately poised.
Johnny Barron, very docile pitch. Even Stevens, you reckon?
Yeah, not a great deal in it between the two sides. I think it'll start to turn at some stage, certainly on day 4 and day 5, and therefore the West Indies, or the fact that the Sri Lanka will have to chase, will be much tougher. And actually, I thought the West Indies bowled really manfully today, and Sri Lanka at one stage 77 for 3 were in all sorts of bother, but we're right in the engine room of that Sri Lankan side at the moment. And there's Nissanka and big weather to come. Fascinating going into day 3.
Tino Best.
Well, to be honest, good days cricket. Congratulations to Captain Craig Brathwaite on his 9th test century and 4,000 test runs as well. But even Stevens so far, a lot of cricket left in this game. And I thought that, West Indies went about their work smartly today and Sri Lanka showing their fight.
Now, I'll start with you, Sir Clive, in terms of what happened last. We'll talk about first. The penultimate ball of the day could have been a very, very crucial decision if it had went for the West Indies, where the umpire said not out. But the replays seem to be kind of inconclusive. How do you read that last decision there, the penultimate ball of the day, what should have been perhaps a caught behind? What were your initial thoughts?
Well,
Sir Clive?
I would be very disappointed if I was a West Indian because, in that game, because the point is, if there's a spike as the ball passes, then it had to hit something. And I thought it probably hit the back of the bat when it, because that's what it showed. And it's obvious that the umpire thought differently, but it would have made, this would have been a very good day for the West Indies because the fielding was really terrific. And I must say that Mr. Gabriel came to the party today. He bowled with fire. He looked like the Gabriel that we know.
Johnny, we'll definitely talk about Shannon Gabriel a bit later on, but would you say too that you thought it was out when you saw the spike coming there, as you can see it? Did you also think that was out as well?
Yeah, the two interesting things about that dismissal or not dismissal, shall we say, referral, was firstly actually in real time. In real time, when you looked at the original footage, it just felt as if the ball hit the back of the bat, and that was then shown when Snicko's involved in one of the angles. The problem was there was a side angle used which didn't tally with the other set of pictures, and therefore the decision was given not out. But understandably, the West Indies were fairly aggrieved, and I can see why.
And Tino, I mean, you're a bowler. I don't expect you to say that you thought it was not out, but if you had to be honest, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, the ball hit the back of the bat. I just tweeted about it as well. I don't think the side camera, I think they might use the side camera for a run out. I'm not sure if they're sinking at all. With the clear eye, you can see the ball hit the back of the bat. And you can see the ball coming over the top of the bat. Snicko is up in the air, and that's out. So I think it's not the end of the world, but it's just a critical moment in the game that you want to start tomorrow 4 down and to put the Sri Lankans under a little bit of pressure. So I don't think that it was a good decision by the third umpire.
Yeah, very interesting stuff there by the third umpire. I believe it was Nigel Duguid. All right, look, let's get into the day's play now. Order number 1 for the West Indies would have been to get Craig Brathwaite get that single, to get his 9th Test century. And Sir Clive, when he got it, it signalled not only the 9th Test century, but he also, the day before, had passed 4,000 Test runs. But he was on the verge of becoming, perhaps, I think, the only second batsman for 3 times to bat through the innings. Your thoughts on Craig Brathwaite and how he batted on day number 2?
Well, I thought it was, and his stance is a bit more open now, and I think he looks very solid. His concentration is good. He's leaving the ball well. He's always done so. I think eventually, now that he's made 100 as a captain, he will sort of expand his forward strokes, because he played those little flicks that he normally plays to mid-wicket quite easily, and he hasn't done that for quite a while. So I think he's coming into his own. He's changing the bowlers around nicely. I think he's handling the side very well. And it's a pity that he got out in that manner, because I think they could have got another 20, 30 runs, which would have really put them in a much better position.
Tino, I know you're a big fan of Rakeem Cornwall, but I mean, he was not out in the last Test as well in the 60s, and he didn't add much. I think he only added 1. He was unbeaten in the 40s on this occasion. He did add about 30 runs, but he still fell short of what could have been his maiden Test century. How has he been batting to you for his 73? And do you see him getting that promotion up the order ahead of Alzarri Joseph?
Yeah, for sure. I think, it's good competition between the two countrymen. And both of them grew up together, so they're very good friends. They're very close.
Yes.
And look, I thought he batted really well, Barry, for 70-odd. Got dismissed off. I don't think the coach will be happy with that. But Rakeem can score hundreds. He's got 4 list 800s and a couple of first-class hundreds. He's a good cricketer, and he's showing that, and he backs himself. And coming back to the way that Craig Brathwaite batted as well, look, this is the time that you've got to capitalize as an opening batsman. You had a horrible tour of New Zealand. You came to Bangladesh. You got 2 starts, and you didn't get to carry on. But you come home in conditions that you're accustomed to. That's what you have to do as an international cricketer. You got to capitalize in your own conditions. And I thought that partnership of 109 was really good for the West Indies. Kind of put them in a competitive first innings total. So well done, boys.
Just quickly, Johnny, your thoughts before we go to break on the Sri Lankan bowling. Was the bowling the right line, the right lengths after the West Indies were 287? Because they would have wanted to limit them to under 300. Your thoughts on the Sri Lankan bowling in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I still think Sri Lanka bowled pretty well this morning. I mean, Rakeem Cornwall is a serious player, and he's down the order at number 9, which does him no justice whatsoever. And Craig Brathwaite batted absolutely beautifully. But I think largely Sri Lanka bowled really well in this innings. The problem, of course, is the fielding. The 3 drop catches yesterday, a couple of reviews didn't go their way either. But I think they bowled pretty manfully. And Lakmal, 4 for 94, following up the 5 for in that first innings, was absolutely outstanding.
All right, you're watching On Tour right here on FlowSports. We're going to go to break. When we come back, a stunner of a catch. I'll talk about that for sure when we come back right here on Tour.
Put up your hand, it's time to party. Turn it up to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to
Welcome back on tour then. Of course, let's remind you the scores going into day number 3. The West Indies bowled out for 354 and the Sri Lankans 136 for 3. They trail by 218 runs. Now, you talk about catches win matches. We are very far away from anyone decisively winning or having an advantage in this test match. But one of these catches that we saw today was perhaps, well, yesterday really, was perhaps one of the best we've really seen in Test cricket for a long time. I'm talking about Nkrumah Bonner's catch, and it really was something special. Let's have a look at it, and we're going to talk about it. Tino, what was so special in your mind about this catch?
Reaction time, Barry. It's all about reaction time. And look, when the ball comes through slip, it comes through quickly. And you know that delivery as well. It wasn't an express delivery, but when your batsman throw his hands at that ball and that ball peels off and it goes down that slip curtain, you got 0.5 seconds to react, and he reacted magnificently, going to I think it was his right. So you're going to his strong side. So you give him credit, but he was going to his strong side. But still, you got to hang on, and he hanged on for dear life, and that was a magnificent grab. Brilliant stuff from Nkrumah Bonner.
Johnny Barron, take a crack at it.
Outstanding. I mean, what a grab, and a critical one as well, because one of the things you want to do is dispose of the captain as quick as possible. And Karuna Ratne has had a horrible tour. 3 scores of under 12, coming off the back, of course, that 100 against England. A critical moment in the game, especially as at that stage it did look awfully flat.
No, you know, in your time, Sir Clive, you have seen many great slip fielders. Someone on television was comparing it to perhaps a Roger Harper. If you had to compare it to perhaps someone with that catching ability in your day, who would you have compared such a catch to when you were captain of the West Indies?
We had some good slippers, I must say. And there was a guy for a slip, and with glasses, he did fairly well down there.
Is his name Clive Lloyd?
Somewhere, I think that's his name. Yes.
Yeah,
No,
he was
but
not bad.
We had Richie Richardson, Viv Richards, Roger Harper, Gordon Greenidge now and then with Joel Garner at Gully. We had some terrific slip fields, and we took some marvelous catches. I must say that we took probably 90% of our slip catches, and that's what kept us in the game all the time. Anything that went down into slip, it was taken. And Roger Harper took some stunners, I must tell you. He was one of the best slippers we had.
Well, congratulations to Nkrumah Bonner. Definitely the catch of the day. Look, just quickly, Johnny, Thurmani, we still have to discuss him. Really batted well for 55, top scored so far. He made the difference because that catch kind of gave the West Indies some momentum, and he nullified that momentum with a very good innings of 55.
Yeah, very impressive again. And he's really starting to be a really consistent player for Sri Lanka as well. 350s in a row. And actually, if you look at his scores, 111, 43, 13, 70, 76, 55. They're all his scores this year, averaging 52. And considering he has a career average of 25, this is a player on the move. Critical hand today again.
You spoke about Shannon Gabriel, Sir Clive, but I'll ask Tino Best this question. He looked much better on day 2. What do you think that he went to the drawing board and did differently to come back and look a much better bowler than we saw in the first test?
Yeah, knowing that he's under pressure, that he knows he has to pull his stocks up, he has to log on, and he has to run in and bowl as quickly as possible. He is the quickest bowler. He has to up his pace all the time. He is the strike bowler. When you got Kemar Roach bowling 130 and you got Jason Holder bowling 120 odd, you have to be that man to run up and continue to bowl at 140 clicks. Azari Joseph is mid 135s, 138 at times, depending on how his rhythm is going. But you are the big bowler in terms of rattling guys, being aggressive, and you got to do that. And he did that well today. And look, I think that he has to be saying to himself, Pfeiffer. As a bowler, you got to say to yourself, this innings, I'm going to take Pfeiffer. And I think that helps you with your confidence, and that helps you with your mindset going into the third day tomorrow.
All right, wonderful stuff. You're watching On Tour right here on FlowSports. When we come back, we'll hear from one of the West Indies players, and also we have another guest analyst who is joining us, of course, via our social media to give us his thoughts. We'll be right back.
Windies in the land, land, just put up your hand. It's time to party. Turn it up to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to...
So we're back. Of course, the West Indies soon about to resume with Sri Lanka, who will continue on 136 for 3. Well, Jason Holt is not the captain anymore, but they seem to be talking to him quite often, whether it's between the matches or after the day's play, and such was the case when he caught up with Alex Jordan after day 2.
Jason, what just happened there? That ball, Cornwall to De Silva.
Well, we heard a noise down the leg side. After seeing it on the review, we saw a spike, so we thought it was an edge. But apparently, umpires were saying there was some delay between the bat and ball, so I'm not sure. I guess I have to go upstairs and see how it looks afterwards.
You guys seem pretty convinced. You have been in a really vocal mood all afternoon. Lots of chirping. What was going on out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty docile wicket so far. We've got to find ways to motivate ourselves. It was pretty flat. And, I just needed a little bit of burst, in terms of that chirping. So, yeah, took it upon my responsibility today to just encourage you guys and make sure that, we kept going throughout the entire innings today. It's a really good effort by the bowlers so far. Not a wicket I believe you could just go and blast people out. It's a pretty good wicket for batting. So, at the end of the day, you got to be really, really patient, and encouragement is part of it.
Yeah, no, it is. There's not much out there for the bowlers. In terms of 354 and where we are at this stage of the game, do you feel the Windies are in an advantageous position?
Well, it's pretty even Stevens, I believe. We've got 2 set batsmen at the crease at the moment. Again, our bowlers toil really hard. We're still 60 overs in, so maybe if we can grab 1 or 2 more before the new ball and then make the new ball count, the second new ball count, then I believe we'll be pretty much in the game. But, I pretty much even Stevens for me at this stage. I guess if we had 1 or 2 more wickets at the close of plays, we probably would have been a nudge in front.
Lastly, Jace, your own form, how are you feeling right now? You've been having a great series so far.
Yeah, not too bad. Haven't been able to get a wicket today so far. I've been toiling, but that's the nature of my game. Just keep coming, and I guess we'll see how tomorrow goes. And who knows, 1 or 2 more may keep low or may pop off the surface.
Thank you so much, Alex and Jason Holder. We continue to have and invite you as a major part of this program on tour. Our fans mean everything to us on FlowSports. We have another fan view. This time is from Tahir Bulbulia, and let's hear what he has to say about the day's play.
Day 2 has been a captivating day of cricket, and we kudos must go to Craig Brathwaite for a gritty 100, a definite captain's knock. I personally believe that this was one of his best international 100s to date. We are beginning to see the true personality of Craig come to the floor, and he looks a lot more comfortable at the crease in international cricket now. Rakeem Cornwall once again showed his ability with the bat, scoring a nice 50. I think he should have kicked on, but so be it. And as Johnny Barron alluded to yesterday, the average score, first innings score on this ground is 277, and West Indies made 354, so that's a plus. For the Sri Lankans, the mastery of Suranga Lakmal came out once again with his skillful bowling. He looked extremely well. He's a bright spark for the Sri Lankans, and he has done well in both tests thus far. West Indies both very disciplined, and Gabriel looks 100% match fit again. He was steaming in late on in the evening, and the credit must go to him. And we often hear Philo talk about Alzari enjoying his cricket, and he looked happy today. He did not get as much success, but he got 1 wicket and he bowled good lines and length at all times. Mir's spell was extremely pivotal after tea. That was what kept the Sri Lankans in, and they brought the pressure and got the wicket. We're now beginning to see the pitch deteriorating and few indifferent deliveries, and I expect it to change over the period of the match. For Sri Lanka, Thirumanna batted extremely well, but I believe they were a bit too conservative and held back, so they should have looked to attack a bit more. Thirumanna was unlucky in how he got out, but Roth's psychological mind got on top of him again. All in all, I think it was a successful day for West Indies. They fielded well and both extremely disciplined. If West Indies can break the partnership early tomorrow morning, get out with Nisanka, who's coming off of 100 on debut, I certainly feel West Indies could be batting just after lunch tomorrow. And all in all, I think it was even Stevens on day 1, but I think West Indies have the edge on day 2. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tahir. Of course, if you want to continue to send in your views, just send them. And that's how you can send it, telling us there what you can do to send your fan views every day, and we'll give you a shot to be a sportscaster or an analyst for a day on FlowSports. Thank you so much. All right, gentlemen, in 30 seconds each, how do you view it for the West Indies and the Sri Lankans on day 3? Let's start, first of all, with you, Sir Clive Lloyd.
Well, I think it's, as I said, delicately poised. If they can bowl Sri Lanka out under our score and give them something over 300, it could on the last day, it could be quite interesting. If you noticed, when Cornwall bowled around the wicket to the right-hander, he got tremendous bunks. And I think he can create some problems for the left-handers in the Sri Lankan side. So I would think that they want to try and get them, you know, get them if they can bowl them out before the 350 odd, because I think that I like the way that the guys were encouraging one another. It was good to see.
Yes.
And I think that it could be a very good test match, really. The next 3 days could be very enthralling.
Johnny Barry, your final summary?
It really depends, really. If they can get rid of Chandimal and Dananjaya fairly quickly and then try and dispose of Nissanka and Dick Weller, they've got a great chance. Bear in mind that they've got a pretty long tail. They lost 5 for 19 and 5 for 38 in the first test. West Indies will be looking to do the same if they can.
Wonderful stuff. Finally, Tino Best.
Well, it looks a really flat wicket, and the West Indies bowlers have to be patient. They have to have the patience to just go there and just hit that card, bring the batsman on the front foot as much as possible, try to get some edges, and try to aim for those knee roll balls. Kimon Roach, don't be afraid to take a drive. Shannon Gabriel Craig Brathwaite got to use Shannon Gabriel in short bursts to keep that aggression, keep the short ball going, and be aggressive at the Sri Lankan. So if we can restrict them under 350, I think it sets up the game to a very good test match. It's going to be a very, very interesting one.
Thank you so much, Tino Best, Johnny Barron and Sir Clive Lloyd. You'll be watching On Tour right here on Flow Sports. Cricket resumes shortly with a very interesting test match up ahead. I'm Barry Wilkinson. Continue to send us your thoughts, your emails, and of course, your views on social media. Bye-bye for now, until tomorrow, when we'll join you on Tour.